let's get to coffee, cookies, and corporations. My next two guests have created a whole business around their passions, and they have taken creative approaches to their passions, and now they serve Fortune 500 companies with their services and their unique offerings. So I wanted them to come on here and share with you some of their tips, their entrepreneurship journey, and, well, who doesn't like coffee and cookies? Okay, so everyone, please join me in welcoming Chris Stana. He is the head barista and owner of Hot Shots Catering. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And then this is Alexis, Chef Alexis, owner and pastry chef of Sweet Frosted Cookies Dessert Shop. Welcome, Alexis. So glad you guys can join me. Okay, so let's start with Chris. Chris, tell us how you kind of got into, or first of all, tell us what Hot Shots Catering does. Sure. Because I kind of stumbled upon your profile because I saw this really cool cup of coffee with like a Rolls-Royce logo on it.
Yeah,
I'm like, I need to meet this guy. This is cool. But tell people how you went from like a political science degree to
doing coffee
enthusiast.
Yeah. So first thing is with Hot Shots, we're a gourmet mobile coffee catering service. So if you thought of, think of Starbucks or a gourmet coffee shop coming on site, pretty much with nothing needed. So we could set up in a parking lot, if you could believe that, and basically do a gourmet coffee experience. Everything you get at a gourmet coffee shop, you could order right from us. So lattes, gelato, Italian sodas, frappes. That's pretty much it. And so
this.
it's a full experience.
You can do everything with your coffee.
We even do printed lattes and things. So I mean, it's great. It's a full turnkey service. There's nothing you need to really even provide, even if you didn't have power. And then as far as how I started, I actually started the business when I was around 21 years old. And I graduated high school. I went to a military school and really kind of got my head on straight and really found out at a young age what I wanted to do. And as soon as I graduated, I wanted to pay my own way through college. I wanted to get my own car. I wanted to do all these great things. And so I started out about 15 plus years ago doing this business. And really the last 5 or 6 years, I would say, from having that poli-sci major when I graduated, is really where I said, you know what, I love the law. I love all this stuff, because I was going to go into becoming a lawyer. And I really sat down with my parents. I said, you know what I really want to do is continue this business and take it to the next level. So we've been doing that, and I've been very blessed to continue on this business and doing that. So that's us in a nutshell.
Kind of going the non-corporate route.
Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's, but I've always been, I learned early on in high school that, I didn't want to follow the path of, just working a job and doing these things. I really had that entrepreneurial spirit at a young age. And so I really wanted to take that on. And so I worked a couple of jobs, at the beginning, and then even throughout this business, I've worked at UPS and some other places, but I've always come back to really trying to fulfill myself into being a true entrepreneur and really taking this business to the next level and teaching people about coffee, great coffee.
Awesome. And what goes better with coffee than cookies?
Absolutely.
Alexis, tell us how you got started, because you had a whole career path before being a pastry chef.
Yes, I did real estate and mortgage for over 15 years. And then one day, my son was turning 13, and I baked him the ugliest cake ever. It was so ugly, it literally made me cry. So then I promised him that when he turns 14, I will bake him the most delicious and prettiest cake he will ever see. And that was 10 years ago. And since then, I've been baking cookies and cakes and just whatever you need. And then I got into cookie decorating 2 years ago, and 6 months into it, Food Network found me on Facebook and Instagram, invited me to apply, and 3 months after the application, I ended up competing last year, a year ago this month. And if you guys haven't watched it, November 28th, this year, this month.
Wow. Oh, we'll be able to see it?
Yeah, November 28th.
Awesome.
And yeah, from there, I just started doing a lot of corporate cookie decorating events for team building, started doing logo decorated and Fanny. That's how I met you. You ordered some cookies for some of your events.
Yes, yes.
One of our specialty also is dietary restriction. My son cannot have gluten. He cannot have dairy. He cannot have anything under the sun. So I had to learn how to make sweets using non-traditional ingredients. And that is, I got into organic ingredients and gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, things like that, to accommodate people that cannot have sweets because of their dietary restrictions.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I mean, my son himself has egg allergies, so I'll have to order a eggless cake from you next. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, guys, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and so many businesses have been affected. And I'd like to hear, how you've kind of adjusted your businesses, and how has COVID affected you, and how have you had to pivot? And Chris, what have you had to do? I mean, you were doing conferences and corporate events and like going to all these places, right? What have you done since the pandemic hit?
Absolutely. I can tell you, I know with us, really, it started probably in February for us, because we had we do a lot of expos and conventions, and those all kind of just literally canceled starting in February. And that really gave me kind of a viewpoint that, hey, this is going to get worse than it is going to get better. So, we're 100% event driven business. So we do weddings, corporate events, and conventions, majority of what we do. And so it's been really hard. But at the same time, we tried to pivot as much as we could. At the start, we were really helping out first responders with coffee and doing like a touchless drop-off coffee service.
Nice.
So we pivoted from doing the gourmet coffee experience on site to, now more of a touchless drop-off service. And so we served all of Frisco's police officers and firefighters doing that, which was great. We launched our online website, which, we got into even doing some sanitizer. So we even sell some of our sanitizers. Hot shot sanitizer. It really gave us a reason to get our online part of our business up. And so, for us, that was another pivot that we've wanted to do, but it really gave us more time to do that and dive into that. And then, of course, it's just slowly been coming back on. And as we were just talking a little bit ago, it's something that now we might be heading into another slowdown again. So we're trying to pivot. We're trying to do all kinds of different things, maybe do some online stuff that we were talking about. But we're just hanging in there and trying to get ahead of it.
Tough times. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Alexis? How have you had to pivot your business?
In the beginning, I've always taught in person. All my cookie decorating classes, it's always been in person. All my private classes, group classes. And my last class was with TCU back in February, same thing as Chris. Right after that, March came, all classes stopped, all schedules stopped. Wow. So I decided that it's not going to be about my business. It's not going to be about making money at that moment, because a lot of people obviously lost their jobs. So
Right.
I started doing cookie decorating classes or baking classes online for free. I was doing
Wow.
it every week. I started teaching how to make challah bread, cheesecake to get the community together. And it was my way of giving thanks to the people that had supported my business. And I didn't charge for that. And then now it was starting to get better. A lot of companies started to find me again through Google because
Yeah.
everyone is doing virtual classes, and it's kind of like a blessing because now Google found me. I'm doing virtual classes for them. Jen Tech, Fenmore, a lot of these 500 Koreans found me online because I started doing the virtual classes.
So Google found you on Google. Google Googled you.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's the resilience of the human spirit, right? Like people always find ways around it. Tom in the audience is saying, kudos to both of your guests. Follow the dream. Definitely. Better than before. Hashtag better than before. Yes, for sure. But yeah, let us know in the comments as we go along. Feel free to ask questions of our two guests in the comments, and I'll be sure to bring them into the feed. So yeah, a lot of pivots, and then from there, like, you know, a lot of us have hobbies, right? Like we, you know, I like to paint, but I don't necessarily go and create a whole business out of it. And how did you decide when it was a good time to kind of turn your passion into a business, Chris? Like, how did you know?
Well, for me, you know, it started off early. My mother really had a hand in coffee and a love for coffee, and I learned that from her, and really being able to really find myself wanting to do when I graduated high school. I wanted to get involved I said to myself, either something in cars or something in the hospitality food industry, and I really grew my love for coffee and passion for coffee from actually being involved in this business. So, you know, as far as a passion goes, I would say it's something that, you know, kind of develops obviously from within. And for me, my passion is not just coffee, but really was that entrepreneurial, wanting to start my own business, wanting to do that for the rest of my life. And so that, to me, that's kind of how that all started, I guess.
Yeah. But at what point do you think, like, okay, I have this passion for coffee,
Mhm.
and were there a series of ideas or steps that you took to, or lessons learned? Like, what was your biggest challenge when you were trying to monetize coffee, right, and your services? And then how did you overcome that?
Sure. I would say, to be honest with you, I mean, there's several challenges even to this day. One of the biggest challenges I've always dealt with, especially with a passion, and every business is different. And so one of the first things I always say is focus on being different. But one of the biggest things that I kind of learned to deal with is, you know, every business is a little bit different. So you have, for instance, if you wanted to start a plumbing business, there's obviously tools and things you can quickly get your hands on. I can go down to Lowe's and get started with a few things to start a business that way. Or if I wanted to be a mobile chef or something like that. But for us, one of the things is, how do you tell somebody about something and say you have a service that is not really well known. So for us, that continues to be the biggest issue today is, you know, when you think of events and stuff that you do, the first thing you think of is, oh, I need to get a mobile bartender or something like that. Or, you know, what kind of drinks can I have at an event? You know, the last thing that most people ever think of is coffee. And if you think about it, coffee is great for all kinds of different events. events,
It's
evening events.
non-alcoholic,
It's
right? So
non-alcoholic.
it's safe at corporate events. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And, for us, it really, I always say it's a love-hate relationship with Starbucks. But, if it wasn't for Starbucks, I wouldn't be here probably talking to you or even be in this business. So, there's, I would say partly of that as far as passion and focusing to me is really, coming up with something and then really being able to drive forward with it. But one of the hard things is constantly trying to get your name out there and get people to know, for me, all about the gourmet coffee experience that's 100% mobile.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll get some more folks today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we have, there's Mike there. He says, beautiful response. So as you can tell, we lost Alexis, but it's because her school called and her son's sick. So she has to, go pick up her son. So I hope he's okay, Alexis. I'll bring her back on another show. And but it's just you and I, Chris.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll hang in here.
This is the beauty of live, right?
That's right. No, absolutely.
Okay. Actually, okay. She came back. I guess.
Okay.
Is your husband?
No, my son's school just called, and
oh my gosh.
Yes, when the school calls, I see the name of the school on my phone. I just kind of panic.
Yeah.
But they just needed to double check because they were saying that his temperature went from 100 to 99, from 100 to 99, but they're checking to make sure it's not 103. So,
oh my gosh.
But they said he's okay.
Okay. Wow. I'll let you catch your breath.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is live, folks.
Yeah.
But, I'd love to hear from the audience also. Drop in the comments below, like, what is your passion and what is something that you've always thought of maybe turning into a business? I would love to hear that in the comments below. Let us know if you have a side hustle or a passion that's always kind of like crept into your head and you want to turn it into a business. Maybe Chris and Alexis can give you some tips around that as well. But Alexis, I was asking Chris, like, how did you turn your passion into a business? How did you know what to monetize and, where to make profits from? Like, at what point did you have those ideas?
I've shared with you before. I believe I got it from my mom. My mom has always been, whatever little things that she can make and support her family, she tried to make money out of it, especially growing up from the Philippines. And I saw her do that. So every time I'm able to create something, I would say, I wonder if I could make a little money out of this. So going back to my son's cake, I got better. I started learning how to do these pastries. And I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'd love to open up a cupcakery. So a week after that, I opened up a cupcakery. And my husband supported me. And it is just something that I grew up in, coming from a country where you have to make something to provide for your family.
Yes. Yes. I love that fearlessness in both of you. I think a lot of times we get, at least for me, sometimes like you get into this rut, I think, as we're growing up of like, just got to go up the corporate ladder and all this kind of like so-called traditional ways of going about a career. But I think sometimes a lot of that's bounded by fear, and those that are fearless, pursue their passion and just go for it. And when we're, why not, right? Why not? And look at you now, both of you serving Fortune 500 companies. It's an amazing story. But yeah, like as far as corporations, I mean, Chris, obviously I saw, you worked with Rolls-Royce, AT&T, all these variety of Fortune 500 companies. How did you kind of know what to offer? Like what are these kind of corporate offerings? How did you package them to kind of serve your corporate clients?
Sure. So for us, it's really, this is something that we do every year. My goal with our company is always come up with something new and exciting every year that has to do with coffee. And so, we really started out just doing our gourmet lattes and doing them better than what you get at a gourmet coffee shop, topping them with whipped cream, making each one, I call it each coffee have its own little personality, if you will. But over the years, I've seen a lot of businesses and companies, I look at things in a different lenses. I always try to look at things of how can I do that a little bit different, make that a little bit extra special. And when it came to corporations and events like that we go to, I always find that, when we do a business to business event or something like that, that a lot of times when you're in the corporate world, you're constantly getting lunches maybe from the same place, or that,
Yes.
Drop off coffee, which is, not always the best coffee you've ever had.
Yeah.
And so for us, it was like, okay, well, how about we gear this towards a really different and upbeat, fun experience that you're not going to get when someone drops off, just the standard coffee from your favorite coffee shop or something locally.
Right.
That can get old after a while. So for us, it was really about how can we stand out? Well, you have a professional barista come in and make gourmet lattes. And if you want to even go a little bit further than that, we have a process, which you've shown a picture here, where we even do printed lattes. So
Yes,
that means that we're printing on top of the latte, not latte art, but actually a machine that does it in less than 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And we can put your logo or the company that you're trying to represent at a meeting or something, their logo on a coffee. So between that, doing nitro shots, doing the gelato experience that we have, Italian sodas, all these other little things.
That?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
I'm getting hungry just listening to this.
So between all of that, that's really how we've kind of really tried to stand out and add something a little bit different in the corporate world as far as different offerings and things of that nature. So It's worked out well.
Bars like this, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of our bars. That was actually at a church. So, I mean, we go everywhere.
This is pre-COVID.
Yes. Anything without a mask is pre-COVID. We're fully COVID ready in some of these pictures you'll see. We have the gloves, the mask, sanitizer. I mean, it's a full turn
there you
service.
Go.
So
look at that. Yeah. Where was this?
That was actually at a wedding. That's a venue called the Olana. It's not far from here, up here in Frisco. It's in a city called Hickory, I believe, over there in Louisville. And actually, the girl on the horse there, that was the first, we always get something new. This was a girl actually ordering on horseback. An event we did last week, we were in a horse barn. So
equestrian event. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I say we can go anywhere, we can really go anywhere. We had rented a generator and we were, off to the races.
Right? It can be outdoors as well.
Outdoors, which is a great offering now. So I mean, people that want to be, really extra careful with COVID. I mean, we can be anywhere. This is in a gazebo, believe it or not, at a venue that we just did for a wedding venue. So
creative.
Yeah, we always try to do something different. The cart is actually our newest offering this year. So like I said, every year we try to invest it back into the business and do something new. And the cart for this year was the big thing for us. So we continue every year.
Continuous improvement.
Absolutely. That's what you got to do.
I asked people what their passions were. So let's see here. Chandra's passion, being a restaurant critic. Ooh, yes. Awesome. That would be cool. That would be cool. Neil says storytelling and learning. Yes. For those of you out there that want animated videos, Neil's your guy. He does all kinds of cool animations.
Check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Chris O'Connor. Oh, I met Chris at Video Marketing World. I know Chris goes to that as well, helping small businesses do the marketing videos they don't have time to do. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That takes
really
a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then Mary, actually, I'm going to get to your question in just a sec because I do want, she was asking about Instagram strategies for both of you or Chris as well. And but before I do that, I'd love to hear, Alexis, like how have you kind of packaged your offerings for corporations and kind of serve them in your unique way?
Well, it takes a long time to decorate a cookie. I'll give you an example. For example,
Yeah.
something like this. I decorated this today, and that's a cute little
So
Ginger
cute.
Man cookie right there. And I realized that companies' logos, you cannot hand pipe those. For example, Texas Ranger reached out to me and they wanted logo on their cookies, their logos, and there was just no way for me to even paint that. And I also paint on cookies. So then I realized, I researched and I found out, just like Chris does, they do have this edible printing machine that can print right on a cookie. So I started doing logo decorated cookies.
There's AT&T. Yeah.
Yes, such as this one. This is one of the AT&T's mascot, and they ordered some of their mascot on their cookies. And then another one is this one for another department for Google. I'm sorry, yeah, this one is also for Google.
Oh, let me show. Hold on. Let me maximize you. There we go.
This is one of the mascot for Google. This is Dash, and this is Panda. That's both for Google. And that's how I started doing corporations, and it started with AT&T, Texas Rangers. They're one of my biggest clients, and now Google, and you, Fanny.
Yeah. Yes, I'm huge. I'm huge. No. Yeah. Well, they make great thank you gifts. I wanted to thank, this PR firm that I was involved with. And then for those of you out there, the Who You Know show, I was on that. I know Mary's very familiar with them. And so they made for great thank you gifts.
Correct. And fun also for events. We could put a QR code on a cookie and it would link directly to LinkedIn. I've done a lot of that. That's Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then now we also have just like, with COVID, just like Chris, you got to keep doing things to better yourself. We started doing talking edible cards where we could put a voice, either singing or talking. You want to read a novel, that's fine. We could put it also on the cookie. So whoever gets the edible greeting card, they could hear your voice saying,
what? Hold on. So what do you put into, you put it in the box or what do you do?
Yeah. It's an edible greeting card. It's a 5x3, or it could be any size you'd like. And you actually you send me a recorded voice, and I could turn that into a QR code that the receiver will just take their phone, point it on a cookie, and the cookie will start singing or talking.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
that's really cool.
My gosh. That is cool.
Yes, so,
you heard it here first. Edible audio greeting card cookie. That's all your senses, right? Taste, eyes, smell, ears, touch. Wow, that is cool.
Yes, we've been doing a lot of that too for the holidays.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. It just goes to show, like, it's an endless supply of creativity out there, and it's just a matter of looking for it, right? So Chris, I want to dive a bit more into coffee, right? Because I certainly drink a lot of coffee. I know a huge part of the population drinks coffee. What would be kind of like your 3 tips to great coffee?
Sure. So my first one, I would say, and I find this a lot in the coffee world, especially because you have all these different organizations out there, different coffee companies. Now the trend was first, right? Starbucks in the 2000s and all that. And then we kind of went from that to more boutique style coffee. And there's all these fancy ways. I could talk all day long about all the different ways you can make a basic cup of coffee. And so the first thing I always say is don't overcomplicate it. That's my first tip. So what that means is, you don't always need the fanciest grinder. I've grind coffee before, and it's okay through just a Ninja blender. So, I mean, there's several different things that you can do to get by. But I always say, get the basic stuff, as far as if you want to get into coffee, and really just kind of understand, but know that you don't always need the fanciest way to make coffee, regardless of who you hear it from. The second thing is if you start the major, to me, the major part of the battle when it comes to brewing a great cup of coffee is really make sure that you first have good water to start with, good ingredients in general, but good water to start with, good coffee to start with, and then a good brewing system to start with. And believe it or not, that could even be just a Walmart brewer, but it just comes down to, if you have to go mix and match and try to struggle to put things together to brew a cup of coffee, those three things right there are going to help you out the most. And then the third thing is, and this isn't so much on great coffee, but it's another thing that I find that a lot of people get caught up in is kind of being judged on what coffee you like or drink. Don't let anyone judge you on what you like. You like your coffee the certain way you like it. Really dive into that. Find out why you like that coffee. I've talked to people that say, hey, I love a medium roast coffee and I'm scared to try other things because, so-and-so tells me I can't do it this way or what have you. One of the biggest things I always get people to do when I talk to them is break away from all the barriers and really just dive into what you like and see what you like and experiment. Have fun with it. That's what the whole thing is all about. But if you do those three things, you're going to always have great coffee because I think it just works out that way.
I love it. I love it. And I want to give a quick plug to your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Walk us through that because
sure.
You basically share a ton of coffee tips on YouTube.
Absolutely. So I really started this about a year ago. And really started trying to figure out how we can, for me, this is more of my, I guess, hobby, but, it helps me educationally too, to become a better speaker and really put myself out there. So I do, and you'll see behind me this Coffee with Chris. So every Friday on Facebook, you can follow us on Hot Shots Catering on any of the social media platforms, but pretty much on Facebook, I do a Coffee with Chris show. We start off with, I'm drinking a cup of coffee. I tell you what I'm drinking. I give a little bit of a review. Then we go into coffee news, and then we go into events, anything in the event industry that has to do with coffee, whether it's us or something that I like to pick out that's a topic to talk about.
Well, there's your Walmart review, right?
Yeah,
coffee makers.
So some of this stuff, and more on the YouTube side of things, is it's really all about reviewing and kind of doing things. The niche is more about doing reviews in a different way. So it's not just here's the $30,000 coffee machine, espresso machine that we're reviewing that's famous or what have you. It's I want to help people every day with coffee. People that, hey, I just want to get a coffee maker. What's a good one? And these are the issues that I know I struggle with. You go to the store, you pull out your phone, no matter what it is you're buying, you got to find out what's the reviews. Is this good? If you're like me, is this good? Is this bad? What have you? So
I do that.
Some of my most popular videos are just, hey, here's a Keurig machine. Here's the Walmart's version. Which is better and why? And then one of my most popular one is the top, it was 2019 top 5 coffees.
Yeah.
What are the best 5 coffees that you can get off the shelf? Nothing crazy, nothing that you have to go search all over the internet for, but you could go to your local grocery store. What are the top 5 and which one do I think is the best one? So, just trying to give that information to you guys out there. And I think it's anything that I can do that can be helpful.
I love it. It's fun. So. Yeah. I mean, it's like, well, if you're a regular coffee drinker, after a while, you know what you like and don't like, and what's good and not good, right?
Exactly.
But you had a few fun coffee facts, right?
Yeah.
Share that with
absolutely.
us. Those were entertaining.
So these are some coffee industry facts, more for corporations that I like to give out. But one of the first ones here is the average employee drinks 1,000 cups of coffee per year. So your employees love coffee if you're in the business world. Another thing is coffee drinkers spend a total of an average of 190 days drinking and dealing with coffee at the workplace. That's roughly 24 minutes a day dealing with coffee and not being productive. So imagine how
we'll try not to let the bosses hear that one.
Yeah, imagine. Well, I always say, imagine how we could change that with a gourmet coffee bar, getting them productive, getting them it's funny. People will come up to our coffee bar and they'll, they might not see each other all the time because they're in different ends of the office or different cubicles. But then they're like, hey, well, how's that project going? So coffee really does bring people together. Another one, coffee drinkers are more productive than non-coffee drinkers in the workplace. So that's something too. Coffee is also healthy and improves brain function. And studies have shown that coffee drinkers bring home more annual income than those who don't drink coffee. So I don't know how true this is.
I'd be curious. How do they study that?
Yeah, I would like to know that too. But I think the energy gets you going, and that might make a little bit of sense to that too. So absolutely.
Yeah. And you have a philosophy around elevating kind of the customer experience that I really enjoyed when we chatted. Talk to us about that. Like how have you kind of taken a simple thing like a cup of coffee and then elevated that kind of customer experience?
Sure. To me, to be honest with you, the biggest thing for us, and I preach this on my YouTube channel, I preach this on Facebook anytime I get out there, is for us, it's really about being professionalism and having that professionalism. I find that, with other caterers and this is more for us in the event world, is more of what I'm speaking on, but I find a lot of times that a lot of people will just come in, show up late and catering and stuff in general, or not really pay attention to detail. And a lot of things, to me, that kind of hurts your business and makes you not stand out with the rest. So, for us, I really focus, and you'll see some of these photos that you've seen, we're always out in our particular look. We have our white serving jackets with the black tie, and we're always well groomed, and we're on time, and we're talking through the client through the whole process of our experience. So, for us, it's about having, and just in the general of the business itself, it's all about being quick, efficient, and offering a very high-end quality of product. So all of our coffee and everything comes straight from Italy. So to me, that's kind of what helps stand us out, stand us apart.
Sure.
But, at the end of the day,
this in itself, look at that. That's like an elevated coffee. Is that marshmallows?
That's actually a hot chocolate. So we do a hot chocolate bar too. We call it a layers hot chocolate bar. So imagine this, you get to choose whether you want white hot chocolate or dark hot chocolate, and then you add your different flavors, and then we add
who's hungry
milk.
Listening to this. So, comment in the comments below.
Absolutely. So yeah, it really is about being professional, making a professional experience. I mean, I hope that kind of answers that question.
Absolutely.
But to me, that's what it's all about.
And I was attending a conference earlier this week, and they talked about the experience economy. And I was like, what is that? Like, and it was really all about creating memorable experiences, right? Like when we go to, just like what you were describing, and then like Disney, right? Disney is all about, you go to Disney World, or we went on a Disney cruise. Every single detail was this like extra level of service. Right? Like Alexis, we were talking about allergies. They made me list down all my son's allergies, and then every meal, everything they put in front of him did not have any of those allergens. And we're not talking like chicken nuggets. We're talking like lamb, like desserts without eggs and nuts. And it's like this elevated experience. And so there's like a whole experience economy that's being prevalent now. And I can totally see why, as illustrated by you just now. Well,
thank you. Yeah. It's definitely to me. I just got married about a month or two ago, and just to quickly add on that, we stayed at a place called the Broadmoor, and it's one of the top oldest 5-star hotels. And to me, you know, regardless of cost and all that, it just going to that and having that experience, the experience itself was worth more than any hotel I've stayed in in probably the last 10, 20 years. And so to me, and you're talking about Disney and things like that, that's how I've always envisioned things. Even when I was a kid, I've always loved Disney for I think mostly that experience that you get. That's the memories that last.
Who else can make us laugh and cry all in the same?
Oh, absolutely.
Same hour.
Yeah. Toy Story 3 for me was a pretty bad one. So like Volta was saying. By the way, Volta's amazing artist out there for those of you. She's a GIF artist, so shout out to Volta. But she loves the innovation that you described. She's like so hungry. Yes, yes. Debbie, who supports me with a lot of my editing, she's like, I want a hot chocolate. We'll get you one, Debbie.
Tom's like coffee rules. I'm a traditionalist, Mr. Coffee Maker for me.
That's fine too. We get them all. Believe it or not, we've even had people that have never had a cup of coffee before walk up to our bar, and so it's almost like we've changed their lives a little bit there just with the fact that they could try coffee.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, Organic Pete's is his favorite. Yeah. Yeah. That one's a good one.
Absolutely.
Oh. And so, Alexis, tell us from your point of view. I mean, so now we got our coffee groove in, and I know, Chris, you have to drop off like sharply at 5. So feel free to pipe in and let me know.
Absolutely.
And then we're just gonna have a quick chat with Alexis. So, Alexis, like, tell us. So, what are the 3 tips that you have around great cookies?
Well, I'm an organic dessert shop, so everything that I use is 100% organic. Just like Chris, we actually source our chocolates, most of our ingredients from Europe. We special order them all the way all over Europe, Italy, Germany, because they just taste different. And they just really, with organic ingredients, you could just really taste the difference without all the pesticides. And that's really important to me and my family. And that's what I produce for my bakery as well. So number 1, organic ingredients. You can actually start buying organic ingredients at a really decent price at Costco, natural grocers, especially natural grocers, and Whole Foods. The second thing is when I'm baking, a lot of people or a lot of bakers will tell you while you're rolling your dough to keep adding flour on your dough already. Well, that will dry up your dough. So what I do is I would take a parchment paper, put it on my countertop, put my dough on top, then take another parchment paper and then put it on top of my dough and start rolling it. That way you don't have to keep adding flour on top of your dough and it stops it from drying. The third one is I do not use room temperature butter, because when you're using room temperature butter for your cookie dough, you have to put that dough back in a refrigerator before you bake it. But if you use a cold butter, then you don't have to put that back in the refrigerator because it's still cold. So that saves you 30 minutes to 45 minutes time.
Wow. And so for all of you out there baking for the holidays, number 1, organic ingredients. Number 2, parchment paper instead of flour. I love that one. I love that one. Yes. And then use cold butter instead of room temperature butter. Absolutely. Mike says, what about peanut butter? Have you made a peanut butter cookie? Is that in your list of specialties?
Yeah, peanut butter and flour. Just like a tiny little thing, and you can bake that with applesauce.
Oh, wow.
Or almond butter, because we don't use peanut in this house. So almond butter.
Well, there you go. Mike, we're expecting cookies out of you for the holidays. Oh, yeah. And I know one thing about you, Alexis, is like you're a continual learner. Like you're always quoting books and podcasts and, even your quotes and all that. You get it from everywhere. Like, tell us why you find it so important to continually learn, and how do you even squeeze that into your day in the midst of everything else you're doing?
When you're decorating cookies, you're in one spot and you're decorating for hours and hours. Instead of listening to music, I cannot listen to music while I'm working. I actually listen to Audible. So throughout the month, I'll probably go to like 15 Audibles, and I only listen to marketing books, anything that I could learn from, or video. Sometimes I would watch your LinkedIn things, because I'm always wanting to learn, because I believe that when you're learning and you share what you're learning with people, you're helping your community grow. And on top of that, I am now also taking other cake decorating classes from very well-known people from all over the world, so I can then share that with the community. I'm also been Other cookie artists will reach out to me and ask me if I could teach them what I know, and they would travel. One lady traveled 4 hours away because in her community, she reached out to someone who does the same thing, and they didn't want to teach her because they see her as a competitor. I don't believe in having a competitor. You can learn, we can all learn from each other, and we can all grow from each other. She knows things that I don't know. I know things that she doesn't know. So I just don't learn from books. I also learn from my community. I also learn from the people around me. So
Absolutely.
whether you have the same business or not, you come up to me, I'll be more than happy to share with you what I know.
Yeah. No, I'm all for that. I mean, even on LinkedIn, there's tons of creators on LinkedIn, and I'm always about, like, the world is abundant, right?
Yeah.
If it's so much easier to collaborate than be competing and, trying to one step up someone else. Yeah. For sure. Yolanda says, those are great tips for cookies. I've been doing it wrong all along. There you go, Yolanda. You learned cookie tips on LinkedIn. Neil, I know Neil loves to learn as well. Is that an app, Neil? Go Learning? I'm guessing it is. That's what you use. Mike uses Audible and YouTube as well, for sure. Thank you. Yes. YouTube. Well, you can go to YouTube and learn about coffee from Chris.
That's right.
Both of you, like, you guys have so many. I just love your journeys. It's, if you were to kind of boil it down to like one tip for someone to turn their passion into a business, what would that be? Whoever can jump in. Mm-hmm.
I'll say that, quite honestly, passion to a business, I would say being, try to be different, take that idea and do something a little bit different. For instance, my wife does hair. She worked for Ulta for many years.
Yeah. And
I think about that, like when she unfortunately kind of lost her job now, but she's now working for Hot Shots, so that's good. But I've always wanted her to do her own thing, and I've always seen different things out there. When it comes to like doing blowouts, for hair and all that, for weddings and wedding day type of things. And I was like, why don't we get you a trailer and we can line up and do some, you can do the blowouts in the trailer and do different, maybe put glitter in the hair for blowouts, the glitter blowouts, always try to be something different. And so, no matter what it is, I feel like today you have to really work hard to stand out. So do that, work hard, stand out, and do something different. Try to be different. Try to challenge yourself, just like whether it's creating something for corporations or just doing something different in your business day to day. Just try to do it differently. And then last thing I would always say is just don't ever give up. Work hard. And if you truly have a passion for something, every day is a great day to work. So don't give up on your passion. Don't give up on your dreams.
Thank you. Wise words. What about you, Alexis? What would you say is kind of like the one tip to turning a passion into a business?
Number one is for me, it's having great support. My husband is such a great supporter of mine. He never questions my decisions, so that's for me a great thing. And another thing is, I don't believe in perfection. Perfection for me had held me back, and I've learned that as I'm learning, this is good enough. I mean, have not just it's good enough. Have I given it all? Did I give everything that I have, given the situation with everything that I do in life? Did I give it all? And if the answer is yes, then it is good enough. Because if we're waiting for perfection, 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 that may never happen. Then your passion will just always be in the back burner, waiting to happen. And also, don't let negativity get in your head. I get nervous sometimes. I questions my ability, but then I talk myself out of it. I entertain that question when I start questioning myself, but then I say it with all the positivity. I overcome it with love to myself that I got this and I will do it. Because my thing is I'm very competitive. I've always believed in if they can do it, why can't I do it? If they can, I can.
Yeah.
So,
oh, brilliant advice. I love that. Yeah, Volta's fantastic advice. Volta understands she's a creative herself. And Debbie's like, I love Audible. I want to eat a cookie and listen to Audible now. Yes, for sure. Me too. I'm going to go make myself a coffee after this. But, you know, as we kind of head into Thanksgiving and the holidays, and it's going to be a different kind of holidays, right? That's coming up. I always kind of like to hear from people what their gratitude practice is and to practice it, right? Just like you said, Alexis, like, so for Chris, you know, what are you grateful for right now?
Yeah, I would say work, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm someone that is very, you know, kind of like Alexis was saying, is, you know, kind of really being engaged and doing the work and not giving up. And for me, this has been a really hard year for us, just from the standpoint of, I love going out and even being part of the event business and making coffees for people. That's my passion. And so, you know, even if I could do it for free, I would do it for free, but you know, I have to pay the bills and all that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we went from last year being the most busiest we've ever been, our busiest year, and then really coming into this year and almost being completely halted.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for me, I'm very thankful. We've had customers that, you know, they didn't have to spend money with us. They didn't have to do anything with everything that's going on. You know, and I've been on that same plane where you have to make choices of what you're going to buy. Everyone's hurting right now, but I think at the same time, you know, I've been really grateful for the business that we've had and the work that we had with a lot of our customers that are really behind us. And it takes something like this sometimes to really see that. And for that, I'm very thankful for the people out there that are continuing to support us through this whole thing. And, you know, we try to find ways to give back too. So, you know,
we all crave connection. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, no matter what. What about you, Alexis? What are you grateful for as we kind of enter into this holiday season?
Every night when I put my little one to sleep, I just hold him really tight and I would tell him, I thank God that I'm here to hold him every night, because I know with the COVID, a lot of people had some loved ones that had passed away. So I do not take for granted every morning that my eyes opens with my family. That's my number one main thing. And then the second thing is, just like with Chris, these businesses that has chosen sweet frosted cookies over others had given me hope again that this too shall pass. All of this will pass, and it will get better again. Just that hope keeps me going. And keep my business door open, and like Chris, just giving back to the community the best that I can, given our situations, and
Absolutely.
given the pandemic, there is still a lot of things to be grateful for. The time I've spent so much with my son, I had to homeschool him to a point where I was crying every day.
Yeah, it's tough.
Garden. But then I took that in as I get to do that now, because next year I may not have the time. I may get busy again.
Yeah.
No soccer now, no baseball, but we're enjoying each other's company.
For sure. Yeah. Mike says, keep up the good work, folks. I pray that we can keep the economy going to help you all out. Yeah. For everyone. We still try to spend if we can and support our economy. That's for sure. Yeah. As we kind of close out the show, my reminder, as always, is first of all, thank you. Thank you both for spending your time with us. Thank you for sharing your tips and advice. Chris and Alexis, coffee and cookies and your impact on corporations. You never know. You never know. And for those of you out there, always remember to shine your light, share your message, share your voice, and share it with the world through video. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
Really appreciate everyone's time.